So this is how you can center image inside a circle div. So this is our circle div, and we have an image right here. So we already managed to put the image inside the div, and to do that we have to overflow hidden, something like that. And then the next problem is how can you center the image to be actually centered in here and not typically like it's way beyond this circle. So this image should be put in here. So this is given that you have a div with an image of equal height. For example, the height of my div right now is 120 px, and then the image is 120 px. So that's given that the height is equal in here. So I think to do that, you have to first so you can margin left. Let's try to add margin left of 5 px, something like that. 5 px. So it will move a little bit in 5 px because it respects the actual pixels, right? But what happens if I add 50% in here? So it respects the 50% of the circle or the div in here. So it puts 50% margin based on the 50% width of this div right here. I hope I'm making sense in that phrase. So the 50% margin left, it came from here. So you know that it's already centered, right? So here's the center. That's already a 50%. I'm gonna say 50% discount, but that's already a 50% space right there. So it's already centered. So if I do 100%, it's way beyond it. So it's way beyond here. So what we want is we want to have the image to be 50%. We want it centered, so we want it just 50%. So we want to have a margin in here. This is with respect to the edge of this image. So to do that, let's put the edge of this image to 50%. So let's try. Okay, so the edge of the image now is at the really center of the circle. So what we want to do is to transform this image where the center in here should be in here. So to do that, we need to move a little bit 50% of this size, 50% of this size in here. Because if we move 100%, it will be in there. So we just want to target this 50% in here. So okay, let's try to translate x. So the x, translate x represents the x-axis. So we'll try to a negative 100%. Let's try 100%. Okay, so for the 100%, it actually transforms the entirety of our image. So before we have image right here, right? So this is our image. It's right here. um, it's in the right side of the circle. But if I transform 50%, it will transform 100%, correct. I've said corrected. So 100 negative 100%, this will just flip right here. So it will transform here. From here, it will be in the left side, totally 100%. So if I try negative 100%, you can see it translates to the 100% to the left side. That's not what we want. What we want is just translate the center, the 50% of the image to the uh, center of the image, which is the 50%. We already have that in here. We already figured that out how to make it 50% by adding a margin left of 50%. So the next thing we have to do is to translate itself, the image, so that it will be centered. So that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much how we want our image to be translated. So it's not in the center. So I think that's pretty much the explanation how you can transform or translate an image to the center of a div. So I hope that makes it clear. So I'm just gonna view it one more time. So we have an image right here, an image, and we have a div. So we want our image to be centered at the div. To do that, with respect to the div, we want our content, for example, in this case, an image, to be moved 50%. So just we can have a 50% line in here. So to do that, we can just add margin left of 50%. So okay, so we already got that we are already at the center of the circle. Now we want to move our content, 50% of this content into 50% in here. So do that. To do that, we want just to transform our image, the center, this 50% of our image, to be put at the 50% in here. So we can do that by just transforming half of the image, moving half of the image into half of the margin in our circle. I think I hope I'm making sense, right? So first we have figured out the center of our circle, so we have figured that out. The next thing we have to figure out is how we can translate this image so that only 50%, which means the center. So this is 50%, this is 100%. So we just want to add or transform the 50%. We want it to be transformed, moved 50% in here so that it will be centered. So to do that, you have to transform, then translate x to negative 50%. So it will move the 50% in here because it's negative. So right there. So I think that's pretty much what we want to achieve, putting a center image inside the circle. So if you can't still get around with it, you can try to play it on your own and or replay this video one more time. So that's pretty much how you can center image inside a circle div.